Hi, this is Doron Kornbluth from Mosaica Press, and I am honored to welcome Rebbetzin Ruchi Koval to be our guest. Hi, how are you?
Hi, thank God I'm good. How's everything in the Holy Land?
Personally, for me, things are fine. You know, it's a tough time, a tough time for everybody around the world and in Israel. And for you, how are things?
Yeah, thank God. I was supposed to be coming home from Israel today after a 10-day trip leading hundreds of women through the Holy Land, so bittersweet.
I can imagine. I can imagine. Well, hopefully things will change for the better, and you'll be coming back soon to visit.
Amen.
Your book, I want to tell you, which is, for those who don't know, I don't know if anybody doesn't know yet, Conversations with God, gorgeous book. This has been out for how many years?
4 years.
4 years, 2016.
Yeah,
And it is still selling strong, thank God. It's got a
yeah,
great
really excited.
reputation. We are
Thank you.
constantly reprinting. I think we've reprinted 4 times or 5 times.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like almost every year, which is wonderful. Can you tell me, why do you think it hit such a sweet spot? And what did you do in this? I know what I think, but I want to hear what you think. What did you do in this book that had not been done before?
I think that it's the first prayer book that uses the vernacular English. Meaning, Art Scroll was obviously in the prayer book world, like a seismic shift in terms of people who weren't familiar with Hebrew or moderately familiar with Hebrew really accessing the prayers. But you have to have a certain degree of Jewish educational background and the concepts in order to even access it. I mean, and the genesis of the book really describes this well. I'll never forget sitting with a group of women, Reform, Conservative, Orthodox, a mix of women. And one of the women was telling me how stunted she felt in prayer, and that when she looked at a book with a standard English translation, she's like, let me give you an example, Ruchi. It says, oh, God, send us your salvation. She's like, what does that mean? What's a salvation? She's like, I never used the word salvation. What does that even mean? So that was the seed planted in my head that English wasn't enough English for a lot of people. And so I think what makes this book different is it uses our everyday English. And because
Uh-oh. Can you hear me? Oh,
okay.
okay.
So I think that what the book does is it takes, I mean, my personal musings as just a human being, but a human being that has been blessed to have a lot of educational backgrounds and to have grown up with prayer as a natural part of my life. And I took this just kind of the stream of consciousness and put it into words, and then I offered it to people. And I said, here, like prayer doesn't have to be that complicated. It can just be your stream of consciousness to God. That's why I called it Conversations with God. Here's what my conversations sound like. Maybe you can relate, or maybe you can use this as the jumping off point for your own. So I think the accessibility, the vernacular English, the vulnerability, like, here's what I think about God. Possibly that's what made it so like resonate with people.
So is there any prayer in particular that you resonate with more than others in the book or elsewhere?
Yes, definitely. One of them is the prayer that's called Elokai Neshama, that my soul, God, the soul that you gave me is pure and holy. I think that prayer contains such a extremely deep and core piece of information that most Jewish people don't have. And I'm talking about all kinds of Jews who grew up with a lot of observance, a little observance, a lot of knowledge, not a lot of knowledge. I don't think enough people are walking around with that strong consciousness all the time that God gave me this beautiful soul. I am a beautiful soul. Everything else is commentary. So like sometimes I say that prayer and I actually get tears in my eyes because it's so powerful. I want to shout that from the rooftops.
Wow, beautiful. Now, we only have a few minutes here, so there's a lot of questions I'd like to ask, and maybe we'll be able to do this again at some point in the future. But people are worried today. Corona has changed our psychology, financial worries, health worries, a lot of social dysfunction. Just we're not used to being together and not leaving the house, so do you address that at all when you're teaching women? I know you're online a lot, and I know you're leading groups a lot, and in the book, and there's like, what is a proper what is a good healthy reaction to our worry, to our concern?
Yeah. So, it's interesting you should mention that, because I have found that there is an opening to mention concepts that people are not necessarily always receptive to, but they're receptive now. For instance, most of what I teach is called Musar. Musar is character development. Now, the reason I started teaching that is because it's very accessible to people. You don't have to believe in God to believe that you should develop your character, right? You don't have to believe in God to believe that we should all try to be our best selves. So it's a very kind of entry level point of teaching, because people are afraid to talk about God, except for Christians. The rest of us Jews are afraid to talk about God. But now now that people are feeling so squeezed and nervous, and everything that we've pinned our hopes on, everything that was a constant is now pulled out from under us, people are looking for faith now. Wow. And Jews who have resisted looking for faith, it freaked them out, are now looking for faith. And I find that now, as a Jewish educator, I can talk about faith much more freely. People are craving it in a way that they weren't craving it prior. I've spoken to other Jewish educators. They're noticing the same thing. What's today? Thursday? Just 2 days ago, I was teaching a class with a bunch of women who are brand new to Jewish learning. And they were I was just sharing the concept that everything happens for a reason, and that if a person was meant to die, they'll die. Nobody can die before their time. And I was I never could have said this a year ago. Never. Wow. And people found it deeply comforting.
Wow. Amazing. Thank you very much for your time. It's a pleasure to visit. My warm regards to your husband. And everybody should be safe and healthy. I look forward to being in touch.
Amen. Amen. For us and for everyone. Thank you.
Amen. Thank you.